Alright, hello you beautiful people, how are you all doing today? I hope you are all doing great. In the last video we were talking, I believe it was about operators. Yes, we are talking about operators in the last episode. So in today's episode we're going to talk about a little bit of arithmetic. So what actually is arithmetic? Arithmetic is typically some sort of a operation that involves two numbers either being added together or subtracted from each other, stuff in that sense. So if this video ends up being really short, I might extend it somewhat, who knows. So anyway, let's get back to the topic then. So as you can see, I have my standard file already prepared. I have already called the file for the arithmetic.js. I don't think I uploaded it yet, but I think I will as soon as this video is done. And pretty much what we're going to cover is the arithmetic part itself. So again, we have the text and the result, and we're going to cover pretty much the basics. So I already told you about basically the operators, how you can assign them values, how you can add them and subtract them, but there's actually a lot more that goes into it and a lot of stuff that you can do with it. And that's also one of the reasons why I wanted to cover arithmetic first before covering data types, which will be next week's video. So the arithmetic part then. So as we all know, there are certain things that we can define using variables. So let's say we define a variable and it will be x, and we gave x a value of the addition of numbers, let's say 10 plus 20, for example, and we want to make sure that we actually print it out. So we do document dot get element by id, and in the id section we're going to type in I think let's just use the result one. So let's do result, and let's do dot inner HTML, and it will be equal to x. So what this will do, it will change the value of the value of our text in the result, which is the second one, if I remember correctly. Yes, it's the second one. So the second paragraph should change to the result of those two numbers being added together. So it should say 30 now. So if we refresh it, you can see it now says 30. Let me just zoom in a little. So that's how you pretty much define it. One of the actually cooler things you can do is you can also add in variables together. So what we could do is have, I actually showed you this before, but I'm just covering it real quick. So let's say we have a variable called y, and it will be equal to, I don't know, let's say 15. And let's say that x is just equal to 10, for example, and we want to create another variable. This one will be z for like the result, and what that will contain is we can like add them together. So let's say x plus y, and that's it. We can save that, but before running it we need to change this to z because we want to print out the result. So we're going to save that now, and once I reload it, we should have the result, which is 25. So that's how you add two variables together. This is really self-explanatory. So I showed you addition this way. So this section is pretty much addition in its own right. You can also do subtraction really easily, but I'm going to just copy this and separate this out a little. And we're going to add in these forward slashes to separate them, like really simply, like I normally do with my videos, have them all separated out. We can subtract them. So let's say we want to subtract these two numbers just like so, just by changing the plus sign to minus sign. If we refresh the page now, it says -5, so that's subtracting. You can also do multiplying and dividing. So again, it's the exact same principle. So let's say you wanna multiply them. So you just do this, you add in the star sign, and if I refresh this, it says 150 because it's 15 times 10. Also, when I've noticed I didn't uncomment this and it still produced the right result. The way it goes is it goes in here, it solves that z for here, then it assigns the variables again and solves it for this problem right here. So technically you do not even have to comment these out, but I like to comment these out because it's, you know, it makes it a lot easier for other people just to try out. So technically I could have worked with the exact same thing just by changing one thing, but in fact all I had to do, since the numbers are repeating, is just leave it uncommented up here, and I don't even have to reuse those numbers anymore. So I can just get rid of them here because it's not important, and the only thing that we are changing is essentially you know, the section where it like matters actually. Let me just separate this out so it looks a bit prettier. So this is multiplication, and we can also do division. So we just have to copy these two lines instead now, and this is actually a part of optimizing your code. You don't want to repeat yourself, so just by doing this you actually reduce the amount of code you have in your base and you achieve the same functionality no matter what you do. And let's say we want to do division now. So if we refresh this, 0.66, that wasn't intentional, I swear. And we can also show the remainder. Now to show the remainder, it's actually really easy. To show the remainder, you just use the % sign instead of the division sign, because it's, yeah, it's the modulo operator. So it pretty much gives you the result of the division. Well, not the result, but the remainder of the division. So if we run this now, we see that the remainder is indeed 10, which does actually make sense. That's however not the only thing we can do with these numbers. Another thing we can do is we can, you know, increment numbers. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use just the x variable for now, so just bear with me. I'm just going to paste in this, but I'm not gonna change that. I'm going to do something a bit different here. So I'm going to say this as an x, and you will see soon why. So we still have our variable x set to 10 over here. So we're going to use that to our advantage. There is something called incrementing that we can do. We can increment them. Incrementing is the process of pretty much adding 1 to a certain value. And you can repeat it without having to resort to different equations. And it's really easy to do. It's just x. You take the variable you want to increment and add 2 plus signs. Oops, 2 plus signs, not 3. So with this, it should just say 11 now. See, it now says 11. So that's incrementing for you. It's really simple. You can also do decrementing. Decrementing is subtracting 1 each and every time. Now, some of you might be thinking already and thinking, okay, maybe I could use this in a loop, and you definitely could. It's actually one of the preferred ways of, yeah, the reason it says 10 now is because we increased it by 1 and also reduced it by 1. But to show you that it actually like does really work, I'm just gonna comment these out. And I'm gonna save it, and we can refresh it. You can see it now says 9. So it did decrement. There's also exploitation. Let me just see how we're doing with time. Yeah, real good. So it might be a real short one. So exploitation. Exploitation is really useful if you want to pretty much raise something by a power of something. So let's say you want to do 2 by the power of, I don't know, 3. It's actually really easy to do that. So let me just show you. I'm going to make here, I'm going to assign x a totally new value. I'm going to say that x is equal to 2 for the sake of this section of code. So bear with me. So let's say that x is now equal to 2. You can ignore it up here. I'm going to reuse these numbers later anyway, most likely. So basically what we want to do here is, since we've assigned x the value of 2, we want to pretty much increase it. So what we want to do is you want to make another separate variable. Actually, we can use the y variable as an example here, since a separate one. Let's use the y variable as the result now, and we will equal it out to x. Then we'll say 2 stars and then 2. I think that's how you, yeah, that's how you do it. So what we've done here is also you need to change this to y to make it work. So pretty much what we've done here is we've assigned x the value of 2, and we set up the y variable to take in the result of x being set to the power of 2, because these two stars define an exponent, which is really easy. It pretty much produces the same result if you were to use another function I'm going to show you, so you don't have to remember this. As you can see, 2 to the power of 2 is indeed 4. We can also do 2 to the power of 3. Boom, it's 8, it works. There's another thing, there's another method that you can achieve this, and it's actually a really simple one, and you do not even have to remember any of this. So let me just reuse this section of code. It's commented out anyway. And instead of using this, we can say, so math dot, and you have a bunch of functions here you can use, but in today's example, we're going to just use po for power, and we're going to do that. And we want to say what variable we want to make the power of. So in our case, it's x, and we want to make the power pretty much dividing the exponent right now. So let's say 3. So we want to make it so that it's 2 to the power of 3. So if you refresh this, nothing has changed. We can change this to 4 to the power of 4, which should be 16, as you can see it is, so it works. So another thing that's actually quite important is the operator precedence. So operator precedence pretty much uses the basic laws of mathematics which is pretty much what you learn in elementary school, is the right order of calculating things if they are used in a math problem. So let's say we define we don't have to define var again since we have it already. Let's say that x is now equal to a problem that we want to solve. For example, we want to do 20 plus I don't know, 10 times 2 for example. So what we should have is, if we do document.get element by ID. I don't know why I didn't copy it originally, so I'm just gonna copy this. Boom, we're going to change this to x. Don't even worry about it. So what should happen is it says 40, and to those of you who are trying to calculate like 2 plus 10, which is 30, times 2 is 60, that's not actually the case. Pretty much what's important here is the multiplication has to be done fast. So we have 10 times 2, which is 20, and then 20 gets added to this 20 over here, therefore producing 40. What you can do, however, is we can actually change the order around, and that's by using something that has a bit of higher, that is a bit of higher importance than multiplication or division in a certain math problem, and that is using parentheses. So we can get actually your guys' first result, if your result was that, which was, if I remember, 60. So if you want to get 60, you just have to add parentheses, and parentheses should be added around the section you want to calculate fast. So the result should be now different. As you can see, it is now 60. That's because parentheses have a higher value of importance compared to multiplication or division. If the parentheses weren't here, just like in this example, the multiplication gets done first before the addition. There's a ton of things you can actually do. You can make greater than pi and assign various kinds of things, but that's pretty much it for arithmetic. There's a ton of things you can do, and a lot of functions you can use, but then again, it's basically up to you what you want to learn and what you want to know about. I am trying to make these videos a lot simpler so that people can actually follow along real quick. And yeah, I hope this video was informative for you guys. If you liked the video, make sure to hit a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you guys in the next week's video.